y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video to help with the virtual apartment search process. So I posted a video back in September about what to know when renting an apartment, and a lot of y'all have been watching that recently. I think it's actually doubled in views just over the last month. So it must be that time of year that people are starting to look into renting apartments. Recently, Josh and I have been looking to move into a new apartment. We're just looking to pay a little less in rent in order to save money for a house, but due to COVID, our new puppy, our hectic schedules, we did not want to tour a bunch of different apartments and have been touring our apartments virtually, which can be a little scary, but I wanted to share with y'all our experiences in order to help anyone that may be in a similar situation. For this video, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts again. So this one is going to be additional research, what to expect from a virtual tour, and key questions to ask. For additional things to research, the research section of your search is so much more important now that you're not going to be able to see things for yourself. So I would highly suggest doing the typical research from the last video of how far it is from work or school, different amenities that each place has, grocery stores, etc. I would also look up the average crime rates in the area that you're looking to move. So there are different websites that you can look up the crime rates and safety ratings by neighborhood. Disclaimer, the crime rates typically do go up the closer you are to downtown. So I wouldn't suggest solely making your decision based off these numbers that you see, but it's important to keep in mind, especially if you're not familiar with the area. There are also websites that show different ratings for neighborhoods such as nightlife, cost of living, outdoor activities available. No neighborhood is perfect and gonna have everything that you want, so I would just keep these different ratings in mind and prioritize what's most important to you. Also, something that I didn't mention in my last video, which I wish I would have, know where the closest banks and ATMs are that won't charge you fees to take out money. I mean, you can just pay the fees at the closest ATM, but I feel like if you have an ATM that's close by that is associated with your bank, it's a lot easier and you waste a lot less money when you need cash. Eli! What? You're fine. You're okay. I'll keep a close eye on him back there. So next is what to expect from a virtual tour. Whether this is through FaceTime or online pictures or some type of 3D experience, the first thing you should do is to check and see if the space that you are virtually touring is the exact unit you would move into. Chances are if you're touring it a month or 2 out from your expected move-in date, it's probably not the exact one you would get because people are trying to fill their empty apartments as soon as possible. So if that is the case and you are not touring your exact unit, check to see how similar the units that you are touring and the units that you are actually looking to move into are. A few questions that I typically have running through my mind during these tours are, do these apartments have the same finishes? Meaning cabinets, flooring, countertops, appliances, microwaves, fridges, stoves, washer, dryer. One of the apartments that we actually were virtually touring, they didn't know the finishes of each individual apartment until the previous tenant moved out. So that was something that we didn't want to take a chance on. Is the layout and or square footage the same? Obviously, you want to know if your stuff can fit in certain configurations, etc. If you're virtual touring an apartment with a patio or balcony, is the unit that you're looking at also going to have that exact patio or balcony? Some of the layouts online will show that balconies are available, but maybe not every apartment in that layout has a balcony, so double check on that. Also, if something says balcony, it may not be a traditional balcony patio that you're thinking of. I know there are these things called Juliet balconies. You can't sit on them. I'm not exactly sure what they are. They just kind of jut out a little bit. It's enough for like plants to have that open outdoor space, so make sure you know exactly what type of balcony or patio that specific unit you're looking at comes with. Another big one is, what is the view of the apartment? So not just for aesthetic purposes, obviously good views are nice to have. Where does the apartment face? So is it over a busy street where it may be noisy? Also, less important, but just something to keep in mind, is if your windows are facing east, then you'll get the sunrise, and if your windows are facing west, then you'll get the sunset. So it just kind of depends. If you're someone that likes to be woken up by the sun, then maybe you want a specific unit that is east facing? Also, don't just trust the maps that the apartments give you. So some places have a overall map. It will say where each unit is located. So if it's 202, it's going to be on this side versus 310 is on this side or something. So a lot of the times the apartments will show that building to show you where each unit is, and then on the surrounding areas it will be green. So my first thought is that's nature or a park or grass field, whatever. But I think that's just kind of to trick the eye. So make sure that you cross-reference that with some type of online map system and see where those apartments are actually facing. Also, make sure that you check the closet space and the pantry space. It's important to know what kind of storage you're working with. It's so easy to just think of the exact rooms and what everything looks like, but you have to think of the full picture and make sure you know that all your stuff is gonna fit. Also, this should be a given, but I know sometimes it's hard. You don't want to inconvenience people. Make sure that if you're doing a FaceTime tour, they show you every single room and open all the doors. Don't feel bad about wanting to check out certain spaces multiple times or asking them like, oh, what's to the left, what's to the right? Can I look in that cabinet or something? The people giving you the tours are there to help you, especially on a virtual tour. It's really hard to conceptualize the space, even over FaceTime. Make sure you get what you need out of the tour. So now for some key questions to ask. These are the key questions that we literally asked on all of our virtual tours. How it would work was we would have a time slot to do the FaceTime tour. We would hang up and they would call us back once they get back to their office in order to answer more general questions about the building, etc. So that would give more time for other virtual tours to come in. And if we wanted any quotes sent over to us about any certain units, then they could email them over ASAP. A few of these questions overlap with my last video, but these are super important questions to ask. And if you haven't seen my last video, I wanted to make sure that you had all the right questions. These first ones are regarding rent and utilities. The main questions that I would make sure to ask are, when is rent due each month? How do you pay rent? Is it a check? Is it an online portal? Are there late fees if you forget? What utilities are included in rent? For the utilities that aren't included, how much do they typically tend to run in the area? And what providers do people use for like internet and cable? Regarding your lease, a few questions that I would ask are, how long is the lease term? Which I typically always thought that leases were like 12 months, but sometimes you can get discounted rates if you do like a 10 or a 15-month lease. Another one is, what are the policies for breaking the lease? This one is super important. And I always joke about it because I think it's funny that you're like, oh my gosh, I love this place. What happens if I want to leave? But you never know when you need to move out or a situation may change. So it's important to know what you're financially responsible for if you do not finish out your lease term. Other things I like to double check on are certain amenities or things that the building provides. Some of these may be listed online, but I just want to double check that everything is current and up to date. For example, for parking, how much is parking and are spaces included with the apartment? Is it a free-for-all or are there assigned parking spaces? Is there guest parking and how much is it? Also, another big amenity that I always check on is the package system. So I have lived in so many different types of apartments with so many different mail and packaging systems. So this is something that I like to know for sure what is going to happen with my mail. Do they leave it outside where anyone can have access to it? Do they leave the packages inside where only residents have access? Is there a locker where you type in a code and get your package? Do you have to get your packages from the front office only during business hours? Are they delivered to your front door or are they put inside your apartment? There are so many different things that they can do with your packages, so it's just best to double check. For maintenance, if something breaks in your apartment, how do you submit a request to fix it? How long does it usually take for the problem to be resolved? Also, is there a 24-hour emergency number for you to call in case of any maintenance emergencies? If you have a pet, the big ones to note are, what is the pet rent? Is there a pet deposit and or fee, which I didn't know existed until recently looking at these new apartments with our new puppy. And some places have a deposit, a fee, and rent, so you need to check out for all of those. What size and type of pets are allowed? Are there any shot records or documentation that you need to submit in order to have your pet approved? If you don't have a pet right now and you're looking to get one, you need to double check that that's something you could add on to your lease later. And my last one is not really a question per se, but a lot of apartments are doing sales or special offers where they'll take off some of your rent for the month or some of your deposit in order to get you to sign. Look on their websites, double check for any sales and discounts. If they do offer a sale or discount on their website, make sure they apply that discount to whatever the sale is, because they're not just going to give it to you for free. So if it's advertised, then make sure that you ask for it and If they don't have anything advertised, you can still ask, it doesn't hurt. The worst they can say is no, and the best case happens is you save a little money. So those are my updated tips on what to know when renting an apartment in this virtual world. For more information on the apartment renting process, feel free to check out my last video on what to know when renting an apartment. If y'all still have more questions, this is something I love to talk about, so feel free to comment below and let me know if there is anything else that I haven't covered that you would like to learn more about. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe for more videos on the apartment search process and learning how to adult in your 20s. Thank y'all so much for watching to the end of this video, and see y'all soon. Bye!